Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled to have you here today. If you are right around 10 years old, you are at the perfect age for today's mission. We're going to be diving into a very special, super important kind of everyday gardening. But hey, before you go grabbing a shovel or lacing up those muddy boots, I gotta tell you, the gardening we're talking about today, it doesn't actually require a single speck of dirt. It's a mission you can start right this very second, exactly where you are. So, let's kick things off with a simple question. Have you ever tried to grow a garden? Just imagine holding a tiny, hard little seed right in the palm of your hand. You dig a small hole in the dirt, drop the seed in, cover it up, and give it a little water. And then, well, you wait. You might check on it literally every single day, just staring at the dirt, wondering if anything is ever going to happen. And then bam! One morning, a tiny green sprout pushes its way right up into the sunlight. It's an amazing feeling, isn't it? Well, today, we're talking about planting a very different kind of seed. Section 1. What are truth seeds? You see, we're not planting apple or pumpkin seeds today. Our source text, The Eternal Harvest, gives us our main instruction manual for a totally different kind of adventure. It's actually a quote from the Bible, from a book called Ecclesiastes, chapter 11, verse 6. It says, "In the morning, sow thy seed, and in the evening withhold not thine hand." Basically, the text is telling us that we really don't know which seed is going to prosper, which one will grow the best. So we should just be planting them all the time. Morning, evening, literally everywhere we go. But what does that old-fashioned word sow actually mean for us today? Sowing simply means the act of planting seeds in the ground so they can grow and produce a harvest. Back in the day, a farmer wouldn't always use a big machine, right? They just reach into a bag of seeds and scatter them by hand. They were sowing the field. But since we've already established we aren't using actual dirt and seeds, what exactly are we scattering here? Well, our source text tells us that as children of God, we've got a job to do. Whenever we talk to people, we actually have a choice. On one hand, we can talk about nothingness and folly. That's just a fancy way of saying silly, empty talk. Or maybe even unkind gossip that really doesn't help anyone. Or, on the other hand, we can share the precious things of God. And that means meaningful, helpful, kind words. So here's the absolute crucial point. Our kind words and our caring actions are the actual seeds of truth. Every single time you say something encouraging instead of something mean, you're replacing empty talk with God's love. You are literally planting a seed. Section 2. Planting in everyday moments. So, if our words and actions are the seeds, where exactly do we find the best soil to plant them in? Do we need some giant stage? Not at all. The source tells us exactly where we can be planting these seeds. You can plant them while you're just walking along the way, while you're riding in cars or on the bus, when you're visiting with your neighbors, or even just playing with your friends. You absolutely don't need to be a grown-up or a pastor in a church pulpit to do this. Those everyday, normal moments are the absolute perfect places to drop a little seed of kindness right into someone's heart. I absolutely love this quote from the text. "Wherever you are, let your light shine forth." It kind of makes me think of being a secret agent on a top-secret mission. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to shine a light of goodness wherever you happen to be. If you're out at recess, shine your light. If you're stuck on the school bus, shine your light. You're actively using every single opportunity to speak a good, kind word. Section 3. Kindness and courtesy count. All right, so we know what the seeds are, and we know where to plant them. But how do we actually make sure they grow? Well, just like a real seed needs water, a truth seed needs kindness to grow in someone's heart. The text gives us this really simple 3-step process to follow. Step 1. Cultivate kindness and courtesy. That basically just means being polite and friendly to the people we meet. Step 2. Start with everyday, normal subjects. You really don't have to start by shouting big theological concepts right off the bat. And step 3. Pass easily to the spiritual and eternal. Because you've been kind and friendly first, it becomes so much easier to talk about the bigger things later, like eternal life and the truth of God. You might actually hear the word temporal used to describe step 2. Temporal just means everyday, normal things that happen in the moment. Things like the weather, what happened at school today, or the video games you're playing. The text tells us to figure out how to pass courteously from these temporal subjects to the spiritual ones. So yeah, it's totally okay to start a conversation about normal kid stuff. That normal, friendly chat is exactly what opens the door to sharing deeper truths later on. Section 4. God's secret helpers. Now, you might be sitting there thinking, wow, this sounds like a pretty big job for a 10-year-old. But listen, you aren't doing this gardening mission all by yourself. Check out this fantastic quote from the source material. Angels of God will make impressions upon the mind, if in the Spirit of Christ you will seek to reach and to help souls. Just think about that for a second. When you're brave enough to plant a tiny seed of truth by being kind or sharing God's love, angels are actually working right there in the background. They work kind of like bright sunshine in the minds of the people you talk to, helping your tiny seeds of truth take root and really grow. So you do the planting, and the angels, they help with the growing. And the reason why all of this matters so much is summed up right here. There are souls who may, by our influence, be led to Christ. Seriously, never ever forget how incredibly important you are. Your simple, everyday influence, the way you treat the new kid in class, how you speak to your brothers and sisters, those little seeds you drop while just hanging out, they can actually lead lost souls to safety. You are helping people find their way to a fuller knowledge of the truth. How cool is that? Section 5. Waiting for the harvest. But hey, what happens when you plant a seed, you're super kind to someone, and you don't see anything change? Well, any gardener will tell you that the absolute hardest part of gardening is having the patience to wait for the flowers to actually bloom. Our source text ends with a beautiful poem that explains this perfectly. The first part says, "Thine is the seed time, God alone beholds the end of what is sown." This means that right now is your time to plant, your seed time. You might not get to see the plant grow right away with your own eyes, but God alone beholds the end. He sees exactly what's going to happen with that little seed of kindness you dropped. And the poem finishes up with this amazing promise. The seed of generous sacrifice, though seeming on the desert cast, shall rise with bloom and fruit at last. Even if it feels like you dropped your seed onto dry, hard desert sand and absolutely nothing is happening, it is definitely not forgotten. Your kind words, your courtesy, your everyday chats that point to God, they will eventually rise up. They're going to bloom and produce beautiful fruit at last. So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one very important question. Where will you plant your first seed today? Will it be on the bus, out at recess, maybe in your very own kitchen? You've got the seeds of truth right there in your heart, ready to be sown. Your secret helpers are standing by. The soil of everyday moments is literally all around you. It's time to let your light shine forth. Get out there, start planting, and let's see what amazing things God will grow.